Hello and welcome to Evolve, a place where we look at tools and practices to move from pain to peace, from worry to faith, from trauma to triumph. Thank you for being here with me. Today I am looking at A Course in Miracles, chapter 15, the purpose of time. I'm going to read a few sentences, starting with, have faith in love without fear. Have faith, meaning unwavering belief and knowingness. Have faith in love without fear. And just take a breath, take a moment to consider what that feels like, to take fear out of the equation when thinking about giving love, receiving love, loving your body, loving your mind, loving your person, loving your life, loving your neighbor, loving the person standing next to you in line at the grocery store, loving the person tailgating you on the freeway. Have faith and love without fear. Without fear, there can be no attack. There can be no anger, for there's no weakness. There's nothing in you that can be broken or diminished or taken away. And so to have faith and love without fear, there's a fearless freedom in just being love, because what we are, what we express as, we teach, we experience, we attract. So have faith and love without fear. Another sentence here. In the instant of holiness, the holy instant, meaning the instant of unity with Source, of realizing there's no separation between me and you, realizing that the physical form is united with the space between the physical forms, and thus there's a continuity. There's no this starts here and ends here. I am you, you are me, we are flowing within, we are the same. Unity. Once we come to an instant of realizing our interconnectedness, our inextricable link to every living sentient being, we are free. We are as free as love would have us, which is eternal expansion. For in the instant he refuses to be bound, he is not bound. For in the instant he refuses to be bound, he is not bound. That puts the power of freedom in our hands, in the choices we make, the decisions, the speaking over our lives with command. It says, in this instant, he is as free as love would have him be. For the instant he refuses to be bound. What does that mean, to refuse to be bound? Well, it means you have the key to the prison cell door. You are simultaneously the prisoner and the warden, and you have the key in your hand, in your back pocket. So in those instances where you might feel stuck or imprisoned, I don't have enough money to do this, I don't have the resources to accomplish this or go here, I don't have the love in my life to make me feel like I'm safe, or I don't have the love in my life to make me feel like I deserve to be here, or this person's mad at me and now I feel worthless, or I don't have the job that I desire, I'm unhappy at my job and so I feel stuck. I can't be a joyful being because of this external condition. I'm bound, I've imprisoned myself. Or my childhood was traumatic, or I experienced abuse in my childhood, and so today I am angry, I am resentful, any adjective you might use, but all of those are ways of imprisoning ourselves because of the decision we've made. What does it mean to refuse to be bound? Well, it's to first observe and be aware of where we are choosing to be bound, which means we're holding on to anger, holding on to resentment, holding on to frustration, irritation, judgment, anything, any emotion in that realm, we are choosing to feed, because all of those emotions are seeds and they don't continue on into the next moment unless they are given permission, unless they are watered and nurtured and carried on our backs into the next moment. We've made them our burden to carry. We've made them the deciding factor of our experience by carrying it into the next moment, because every breath we take is a choice between love or fear, between freedom or being bound. And so just because we were resentful yesterday doesn't mean we have to hold on to that anymore. Our freedom is in this breath. I don't have to hold on to that anymore. So to refuse to be bound means to look at the places we have held ourselves captive to destructive or harmful or just uncomfortable emotions, and to be curious about it, to observe it without judging, because judgment is that non-stop hamster wheel of being imprisoned. I judge this and now I judge myself for judging, and it's a spiral, it's a rabbit hole. So we come back and we observe without judgment. We get curious. Oh, I'm choosing anger here. Oh, I'm choosing frustration over here and resentment here. And in those places where we choose those emotions is because somewhere we feel and believe that we can be broken or we can be weak. And we are not weak and we cannot be broken, but where we believe we can is where we give permission to the emotions like anger and resentment. So to refuse to be bound, again, is to look, be curious, observe, notice, and then choose again, choose differently. Okay, I've been angry at this person for the past week. How can I set myself free? Ask yourself empowering questions. How can I feel more empowered about this situation? How can I feel more peaceful in myself? Well, I can start by realizing that somebody else's actions are actually not personal to me. It's a projection of their reality. It has nothing to do with me. It's a projection of what they're going through, what they're believing, what they're experiencing. Maybe it's even a projection of their pain because they don't know how to come home to themselves or how to digest that anger or that pain quite yet, and so they're pushing it out onto me. Bottom line, it's not personal. Well, if it's not personal, then maybe I can just understand what it is and decide if I'm in a place right now where I would like to engage with it or not. Do I need to set a boundary, or can I have a conversation? Do I need to state a need? Do I need space? I mean, from there you can just make an empowered decision. So to refuse to be bound is to observe, to be aware, to notice where we are holding ourselves captive, to get curious about it, and then ask an empowering question. How can I choose differently? How can I see this in a way that empowers me? How can I see this in a way that sets me free? How can I see this in a way that brings me peace? Because when we are at peace, we emit peace. What we are, we radiate outward. And so when we forgive, we radiate forgiveness. When we come to a place of peace, we radiate peace, and it affects the situation without having to worry about the right thing to say, what to do. Your beingness is first. So come home to that and everything else will flow. That is how we refuse to be bound. And in the instant, it doesn't take years, it doesn't take time. In the instant we refuse, meaning 100% decision, cut off all other possibilities. We make the decision to refuse to be bound. We are no longer bound, we are set free. And so in every moment that we have, every new inhale, every exhale is a new decision, a new choice. We can choose freedom, choose freedom, choose freedom, choose again. I can choose peace instead of this. That's what it's teaching us here. It's giving us the formula to set ourselves free, reminding us, reflecting back to us, you are not broken, you are not weak. Open your eyes. The light is here. So going to a couple other sentences here. Love is an idea, meaning it's not a physical form. Love is intangible, it's invisible, it's energy. And so it is strengthened by sharing it. The idea here is that ideas are strengthened by sharing. It's talking about the law of giving and receiving. So within the universal laws, the law of giving and receiving is to give is to receive. They are one and the same. In the world we've created of this physical matter, believing we're separate, I'm separate from you because I have a body and this space makes us separate. When we live in that world, the law of giving and receiving is opposite. To give is to lose, to receive is to take. And so in that dynamic of giving and receiving under the world's laws, somebody's always losing and somebody's always taking. And so there's this back and forth, and that's where conflict lies. Because if I take too much, then you have too little, or maybe I'm demanding, or if I give too much, then I'm depleted because you took it from me. When we move into the reality of the ever-expanding eternal spaciousness of the idea, the intangible, invisible energy, ever-present energy of love, nothing can be taken from you or added to you. And the only thing that can expand our ideas is the invisible, intangible energy. The energy is expanding, transforming all the time within us, within our breath, within the universe. And so the law here is to give is to receive. And that's how ideas are strengthened. That's how they gain momentum, is to share love, is to give love, not the kind of love that requires sacrifice and guilt and blame and you took too much or you gave too little, but the kind of love that can't help but overflow, that can't help but pour out of you, that can't help but shine through your eyes and add a beautiful texture and tone to your voice. That kind of love. When we give it, we receive it. It flows through us. It is our beingness, and it radiates outward. And it's infectious. Everything around us absorbs it, is enlivened by it, and it keeps hopping and lighting other candles. The Buddha said it just takes one candle to light 1,000 of them. If we light our own candle, we can go around and light everybody else, because that kind of giving doesn't diminish the flame. My flame isn't diminished by shining upon yours and helping you light yours. That kind of love doesn't know what scarcity, what need, what fear, blame, attack, guilt, shame are, because they are illusions. They're not real. So love is an idea, and it's strengthened by sharing. You can give yourself completely under this law. You can give yourself completely, wholly, without loss, and only with gain. Think about that. Only with gain, without loss. You can give yourself completely under this law, that giving is receiving, that there can be no taking, that there's no guilt. When we set aside guilt and shame and the false idea that I'm weak, you can break me, you can take things from me, from this external source I need my value, from this external source I need my worth, please tell me I'm useful, from this source tell me I'm lovable. When we set that aside and realize I'm worthy, I'm valuable, I'm lovable, in fact, I am love. I am loved, I am loving, I am lovable here and always. Then it just becomes your truth. And then you can give yourself completely without loss and only with gain. And that is to have faith and love without fear. The cat agrees. So, the last thing I'll say is holiness is power, and by sharing it, it gains in strength. Holiness being the idea of unity, the idea of love, the idea that we are from the same source, we are expressions of the same source, beautifully unique and beautifully divinely connected always. And it's the same thing, it gains in strength by sharing it. So that which is real, these intangible, invisible ideas of love and faith, they gain in strength when we share them. And so we can give ourselves wholly and completely. And first we must come home to ourselves and just observe and be curious and notice and ask, is what I've decided here setting me free? Is what I've decided to feel setting me free? And if not, then how can I choose differently? Okay. Thank you for reading with me. Thank you for being here with me. Have a gorgeous day. Please feel free to comment, ask questions, share stories, share ideas. I'd love for this to be a dialogue. Blessings.